Hello class ninth. So let us start with our chapter 5, that is cell, the fundamental unit of life. Now first of all I just want to explain that why the name of the chapter is like this: cell, the fundamental unit of life. Fundamental means the basic unit of life. Why cell is called so? Because there may be obviously in this chapter itself you will get the questions related to it, that why cell is called the fundamental unit of life. So the reason behind is cell is able to perform all the functions like reproduction, this digestion, the respiration, nutrition, reproduction again. So the cell is able to carry out all these processes individually, like an organism does. So that's why even unicellular organisms are there, which unicellular means the organisms which are having a single cell. So the unicellular organisms are able to exist independently. That means with the single cell also they are survive, they are showing their existence. That means cell is capable to do everything independently, and that is why cell is called as the fundamental unit of life. Now let us move on to the first topic of the chapter, that is cell theory. Okay, cell theory. So this theory, cell theory cell theory was given by Skaldin, Schwann and Virchow. These three scientists were responsible for proposing the cell theory. So the postulates of the cell theory are: first postulate was that all organisms are composed of one or more cells, or we can say the organisms are composed of cells. Second postulate was the cell is the basic unit of structure, function and organization in all the living organisms. That means cell is meant for giving the structure, the functions and the organization in all living organisms. And the third postulate was the cell comes from all the cells come from the pre-existing cells, the cells that already exist. So the new cells come from the pre-existing cells. So there were three postulates of the cell theory that were given by these three scientists, and these are very important from examination point of view also. I'll provide you the notes along with this video, so you need not to worry about it. Now let me make you understand some more things, like structure of the cell. The next topic of the chapter is the structure of the cell. Structure of the cell. The first point that comes under this is shape and size of the cells. First topic is the shape and size of the cells. Now cell comes in all shapes and sizes. Although most of the cells are spherical in shape, but there are various cells which have another shapes also. Like they can be hexagonal shapes, they can be the this square shape. So all there is one very important cell here, like if we talk about the nephron and neuron. Neuron is the basic structure and function unit of your nervous system, neuron, and nephron is the basic structural and functional unit of your excretory system. So these two cells are having very different shape. Neuron, for example, it is having a shape like somewhat like this, a head like portion and a tail like region. So such kind of shapes of all cells are also there. Neuron, if you say, so it is having this kind of shape. So see, it's not a compulsion that cells will be having a particular kind of shape only. There are cells which are having somewhat different kind of shapes. So this shape of cells is actually dependent upon what kind of shape the cells will be possessing, or what is the size, what will be the size of a particular type of cell. It all depends upon the function they are going to perform. So whatever function have been assigned to them, that according to that function only there are various shapes and sizes of cell. For example, or for instance, I just make you people understand some examples. Like if we say, the egg of an ostrich is the largest known cell of a living animal, and an average egg is 15 centimeter long and 13 centimeter wide. So we are able to see the egg of an ostrich with the naked eyes also. So cell can be as big as like the egg of an ostrich, but it can be microscopic also. Like most of the cells, if I'll say that I can see the nerve cell, which is also known as neuron, with my naked eyes, so it is not possible, because we know we use the microscopes to see all those cells. I have given you that video regarding the usage of microscope in my previous lecture. So neuron is responsible, there are certain cells which are having very small size, that is ultra microscopic size, but there are cells which are having bigger sizes also. So this is what we need to understand about the shape and size of cells. Now comes the various parts of a cell. Here you need to understand that there is a major difference between calling some part of something as a part of a cell and something as a cell organelle. There is a difference between a part of a cell and cell organelle. Part of a cell means without which obviously without cell organelle also we are not able to the cells are not able to perform their function. But still, parts of a cell means what are the various in the cells itself, what are the various bifurcations. Like if we study about the structure of human body, we will say that this is our head region, this is our abdominal region. So there are various bifurcations of the parts of a body. Similarly, in the cell also there are various bifurcations of the regions. So those regions are called as the parts of a cell. Okay, so under the parts of a cell we have the parts of a cell. Under these parts of a cell we have cell wall, plasma membrane, and nucleus. Under these things only we will be studying about various bifurcations. For example, if I'll say, just for instance, just to make you people understand, if I'll say that this is my cell, okay, so cell wall is not present in all the organisms. Cell wall is something that is made up of cellulose, or sometimes it is made up of chitin also. But cell wall is not present in all the organisms. It is present in plants and in the cells of bacteria and fungi. Cell wall is present outside the plasma. Plasma membrane is present in all the living organisms, and cell wall is an additional envelope that is present outside the plasma membrane. But cell wall is present in only those organisms where a protective sheath is required, where the organisms are not able to move from one place to another, so they need some additional assistance. Although bacteria is able to move from one place to another, but still there is a particular usage of cell wall in protection. The organisms which are not able to protect themselves at their own, so that's why cell wall is an additional assistance. But plasma membrane is present in all the living organisms, and nucleus is also present in all the living organisms. So if I'll say, so this is my first means this is cell wall, second means this is plasma membrane, and inside this there is the presence of nucleus. Okay, so these are the bifurcations, or we can say that these are the various parts of a cell. So cell wall is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is nothing but it is carbohydrate, and cell wall is responsible for the protection of a cell. Cell wall is present in plants. It is very hard and it is permeable. Permeable means they allow the entry or exit of most of the substances. But when it comes to the plasma membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. This is very, very, very important. Semi-permeable membrane means, semi means half, means they will not allow the entry and exit of all the substances. Only few substances can move in and out of the cell. That is why it is also known as selectively permeable membrane. Selectively means only selective substances can move in and out of the cell. Its composition is, it is a bilayer. It is a double layer made up of lipid and proteins. Lipids are also formed of carbohydrates and hydrogen. Lipids and proteins जो है they collectively form the plasma membrane. Now, what is the function of plasma membrane? As I told you that they can allow entry and exit of only selective substances. So that's why plasma membrane is responsible for what? It is responsible for the protection of the cell, so that the cell should not lose the various essential substances that are lying inside, and all the undesirable substances should not enter the cell. Now the last one is nucleus. So nucleus, it remains covered with a double membrane. Here it remains covered with a double membrane called as nuclear membrane. What it is called? Nuclear membrane. Okay, so it is called nuclear membrane. The fluid that is present inside the nucleus is called nucleoplasm. Here a fluid is present which is called as nucleoplasm. Nucleus contains chromosomes. They have chromosomes which are very, very important for the cell because they contain the genes. This you have studied in class 8 also, that chromosomes carry the genes, and genes are considered as the units of inheritance, and genes carry the hereditary information from one generation to the next generation. Means if the characters which are there in our parents are transferred to us, or from us, they will be transferred to our next generation through the genes. So these are the various parts of a cell. Thank you.